Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm just about to get started here shortly, so just bear with me. Still configuring a couple of things, but I'll get this started here shortly. Um, Other than that, feel free to say hi as you're coming in, say hello in the chat, smash the like button too as well. It does help out. So, yeah, you guys want to do me that solid, that'd be pretty awesome. Um, yeah, we're about to get started here shortly. And it's Saturday, so yeah. My wife had to go to work, so I'm a little bored. So I just figured I'd jump on the live real quick, and I did switch back to Google Fi, so that's something that yeah, I'll just share my reasons my reasons why. Ultimately, you guys probably know one of the biggest reasons, and obviously that's the Pixel 9a. But welcome back. Glad to be here with everybody. Glad for you guys to stop by. Appreciate you guys for coming through. And so, yeah, doing that solid, smash the like button. It really does help out the channel. So I would appreciate it. It takes like less than a second to do it. But nonetheless, so yeah, I did a thing, right? I posted that, I got a Pixel 9a. Um, the 9a, I was able to get it for $299. So about a little bit half the price. And that's just because, I was already a Fi member. Like, I had a Fi account. I never, like, canceled the Fi account. I just put it in, like, a pause mode. Because I just figured, if I ever needed it, it'd be nice for it to be an active account rather than, like, having to recreate a whole new account. So, with that being said, I'm glad that I kept it because Google Fi has the deal right now. What up, George and San Joaquin? Glad to have you here, man. Appreciate you for being here. But we, they had the deal where if you're a current Fi customer, you can get $200 off just for picking up the Pixel 9a. So I did that. And my wife was like, you know what, we should just like permanently use Google Fi because she really wants the Pixel 9a. And at first, she was gonna wait a couple of months to see how my experience was. She decided not to, so we pulled the trigger on it. It was a little bit of a frustration, right? Stay with consumer cellular. That's great, man. When I do these videos about like which carrier that I'm using, it's not to pitch anybody that they have to like join it. You know what I mean? Like if you're, I'm not here to tell you to switch your carrier or nothing like that. I really, doesn't like if what I'm using might be beneficial for you, then that's a choice by you to make as far as if you want to switch. But I'm not here to convince people to switch. I'll just explain because some people are just like, hey, try out US Mobile, and I did, and trust me, I like US Mobile. I think it's pretty good. There are some caveats to US Mobile, but for the most part, as far as network connectivity and service is fine. But I'm not gonna hold on to things and waste my money on things, right? So just pretty much like cut a bunch of stuff out and for the time being, Google Fi is where I'm gonna be at till like I fully, like pretty much go with like complete the promotion, right? Google Fi has a promotion tracking within your Google Fi app when you check, and so as long as you meet the requirements, then like the deal that you got will remain in place. But if you do anything different or whatever, then obviously the deal's off, right? So like for my end, with Google Fi, like I said, I got $200 off, so I'm only paying 299. But then I did a trade in, so that locked off pretty much like the remaining balance. However, the Pixel 9a has to be active for 120 days on Google Fi. If I move the eSIM from the Pixel 9a to another device, then that negates the promotion. I think they will give me a small window to put the eSIM back, and if not, then they'll just hit me with the full price of the phone. So since I traded something in, then like the $200, that will become a chargeable fee, and I don't want to do that. But plus, two, my wife adding a line on my account, and her Pixel 9a is free, quote unquote. She just has to fulfill 24 months, and and it's free. So for the upcoming foreseeable future, Google Fi is a service provider that I'm on, but the services hasn't been bad, and it never was bad for me. They use T-Mobile, so I mean, when you use things like Helium Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile and all that, it's not too bad. I switched from Metro to Visible, basic savings 320 a year, but I might go with the Plus plan next month for the 5G Ultra Wideband for $35. Still saving 60 instead of the 320 from the basic thought. Oh, from basics. My thoughts are, if it fits your lifestyle, right? So here's the thing when it comes to mobile service providers and like how I approach this on YouTube with everybody. You know, people have different lifestyles and have different needs, and they have different budgets. You know, I'm not here to judge anybody, and I don't need anybody like conveying what their financials look like. It's none of our business. So my thing is that if you find something that seems like it fits for you, it gives you great savings. It doesn't matter if other people say the service was shitty for them or whatever. Like if it fits you and like the network connectivity is tolerable for you, the customer service when you deal with them, is good for you, then go with what fits your wallet, fits your pocket, and fits your everyday life, right? And to hell with everybody else. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't believe everyone should be on the same network provider, or get the same style plan or anything like that. I really don't. I think people, should be with what works for them, to be quite honest. So, yeah, so, if it works out for you, then that's great. Dean Dang, what's up, man? Welcome in. Glad to have you here. Jose, what's up? Welcome in. Glad to have you here, too, as well, bro. Appreciate you guys for coming on in and hanging out with me for like an hour. Like I said, I was just bored and I wanted to go live. So, anyhow, for me, I'm going to hold on to Google Fi for a lot longer. I actually set up to downgrade. I was on this plan right here, the Unlimited Plus. And so, like, that's the only caveat that I would say, is tough about Google Fi is their pricing. I'll get a little bit into that. Did I try Firsty Global? Yes, I have Firsty Global installed on a device. And it's kind of a hit or miss, bro. I don't know, like, how the app services are and, like, what phone you're using with Firsty. I can tell you right now, while it's a good idea for Firsty, first of all, it gives only Edge. Yeah, Google Fi is too expensive if you're, like, on the Unlimited Plus, and even the Simply Unlimited, if you're on a one line. But I'm actually 4 lines. I'm 4 lines in with Simply Unlimited. But, Firsty's a good idea, but it only gives Edge unless you actually pay. If you're paying, like the €1 a day, or then, obviously you're going to get a little bit better speeds. But if you're on the free access on Firsty eSIM, that you're only getting Edge. I had to put my daughter in. This is the other reason why that I decided just, I'm going all in on Google Fi, just not only for my Pixel 9a and my wife's, but, my daughters, they're on the Helium Mobile, and I'm going to talk about this, on the live stream today. The Zero plan from Helium Mobile, it's good because it's free. It's bad because there's a big-ass caveat to it, and I have to let everybody know that. It's not really talked about. I haven't seen anybody talk about it, really, so I'm going to talk about it. So I'll probably update the title of this live stream. But, yeah, Firsty's fine. But then like it's just hit or miss. Like my daughter's like she watched a bunch of ads to earn time on data, right? I think she like earned 9 hours of data usage from the Firsty eSIM. The problem was that when she was at school, it was cutting in and out, so she literally could not use it. So it's a good, it's good, I guess, in certain areas depending on where you are. Just whoever Firsty uses. In my area, we only pick up on Edge connectivity, and that's not a very good thing. It didn't work too well with her phone. She's using a Pixel 5a, and so yeah, it didn't really work out. But it's still a good idea, and the only thing that she was laughing about was she was like she had unlimited access to Uber because Firsty Global eSIM, even if you have data time or not, using the Uber app, and you're good. So she's like, she could order herself an Uber. I'm like, hey, it is what it is, right? We get some of the comments here. I caught the Moto Edge 2024 from Total Wireless, free with their $50 plan. Nice. Bro, I remember the first video when you were stumbling over your words and saying certain words with the lisp. I think I still do. I don't think anything's really changed about that. I don't know. I think I still have that lisp. I think it's still there. Maybe the microphone just like really hides it. I have no idea. Only reason I'm still with Helium Mobile is because I'm on the $5 OG plan. That was when Helium Mobile was beta. Yeah, and you don't want to give that up, man. $5, 28 gigs of priority data, unlimited talk and text. That's pretty solid burner phone right there, right? And it earns crypto. So if you have mapping turned on, you actually earn crypto. You really don't have to use your crypto to prepay your phone. So you could just like earn a lot of that HNT and then transfer it to your crypto wallet, maybe swap for a Solana coin or something of a higher value, depending, or even cash out. It's like whatever you decide to do. Helium Mobile's good. The zero plan, I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody now. I have to change my previous statement on it and take what I said back. So here's the problem, and this is the absolute problem. So, I was under the impression, and you know what? I'll just look it up. So, I'll pull it up so you guys can see. But Helium Mobile, it's a good idea. I don't know if they intended it to be a certain way, but the zero plan literally, it failed my daughter. So I had my kids on the free plan, which was like 100 minutes. It's like 100 minutes, 300 text messages, and then 3 gigabytes of high-speed data. The problem is like the way that I thought it was going to turn out was, say my daughter, because she did, she burned her 3 gigabytes of data before the end of her bill cycle. So I was thinking like, okay, if data is burned, then they turn data off and calls and texts are still working, right? And I had her phone set up where it wasn't using VoLTE. That wasn't the case. The moment that she burned her 3 gigs, she couldn't make any phone calls or text messages to use up to 100 minutes or 300 texts. And when I tried calling her phone, it was just like the line was disconnected. So the problem wasn't what happened was that, and what made me, real life scenario look at this was last week. So like my youngest daughter, she's involved in clubs at her school. So she has garden club on Wednesday. She has 3D printing club on Thursday, and then she has yearbook club on Friday. So she has after school activities. And on Wednesday, they canceled garden club, but they didn't like alert the students right away. So I picked up my oldest daughter, and then we went home. I was like, clubs are like an hour. So we got home. I don't live too far from their school. I live like a block away. And then it was time to pick up my youngest daughter. So I drove to the school. When I got there, I usually like get there 15 minutes before her clubs are over. I just wait outside just in case they end the clubs early. Well, when I pull up there, she's sitting outside. And I'm like, what the hell? So she comes walking up to the car. She's mad. Mind you, we're heating up in Phoenix. So it's like already, reaching, like it reached 100 degrees that day. So it was like 102 degrees outside. And so she comes walking up to the car. She was like, they canceled clubs. I'm like, so you've been sitting outside in front of the school office the entire time? She's like, yeah. But she didn't think about it because I was like, you could have just asked the school administrator if you can borrow the phone and call that home. Like, you have my number and your contacts on your phone. You could have just called, and I would have came and picked you up. So, but she had no calling. She tried to call from her cell phone and it didn't work. And so, yeah, the zero plan is good if you're going to really keep it for a bare minimum, or maybe even something you throw in the glove box as like an emergency phone that you never really use unless for emergencies. But yeah, giving it to a teenager so that way they can try to manage their data. It's a good idea to try to manage their data. But the fact is that if you burn 3 gigabytes of data, the fact that they shut your line down completely, that's not very good. I don't know if that's what Helium intended, but that's what their zero plan is doing. And I sent feedback to Helium so they would know, with the question of, is this how the plan was intended to be? If someone used the full 3 gigabytes of high-speed data, or a lot of data, let's just put it that way, is the phone line and text supposed to shut down with it? Is it supposed to just completely turn off the phone line until the beginning of the next bill? Because if that's the case, like literally, My daughter needed to reach me, and she had no way of doing it. She had a way, she just didn't think of it. But her way of doing it from her phone, not very good. You know, it wasn't a good scenario for her. So we get some of the comments here. Let's see. Also, did you enable data roaming as well? Yeah, I did. I enabled data roaming on the phone and everything. We only picked up Edge with her phone, and data was spotty. It was like in and out. So, you know, I mean, we're gonna keep it. The Firsty global data eSIM, we're gonna keep it. It's gonna be on her phone. Um, and if they progress and things get better in the U.S. with them, then you know that'll be fine. Um, yeah, I don't really know enough about crypto, so I usually just pay monthly, then let it build up for 3 months, and then cash out. Yeah, I think a lot of people do that when it comes to Helium Mobile on the crypto plan. The crypto unlimited is what I'm calling it now. I was calling it legacy, but it was just like, it was just weird. The only way to really define it is if it's the crypto plan. Because if you're earning crypto, if you're earning HNT, then that's what it is. If you're earning cloud points, then it's the new one. That's messed up, bro. That they shut calling and text off. They shouldn't shut it down. Yeah, it's not cool at all. That is the reason, the secondary reason of why, you know, I just decided to return back to Google Fi. 4 lines for $100. You know, you can find that with other carriers. I know that the Simply Unlimited is limited to 35 gigs, and I'm totally fine with that. My kids don't need to be on forever with data, so it's a generous amount, 35 gigs. They should be able to make that work every month. And if they go over it and they're slowed and throttled to unbearable 2G speeds, fine. That's great. Maybe they'll still learn how to manage their time on their phone and not use all 35 gigs. Me personally, I'm not worried about it. I got home Wi-Fi. I can make it work, right? If I can make Helium's crypto plan work, which is only 28 gigs of priority data until you're slowed down, I can make 35 gigs work. Not a problem at all. My wife's taking over the Metro line because she does Amazon Flex, so she's putting the Metro SIM in her Pixel 8a, and of course she has to have the Google Fi SIM in her Pixel 9a. So once her Pixel 9a arrives, we set it up. I have to port her number from US Mobile onto Google Fi. And man, oh man, she's had the same number for, what was it, 5 years now? About 5 years. And it's bounced around to different providers. So yeah, overall, I mean, that's it. I was originally going to go to the flexible plan. I was actually going to do this, but I was like, no, because, you know, my kids, they love to just be weird, right? $20 a month for 1 line, $10 per gig. That's really expensive. I mean, look at 4 lines. 4 lines would be $65 for 4. And then, you know, $10 a gig. I know they got the bill protection thing at 100 gigs. They stopped billing, but when you go past, I think it's 12. What is it? I forget. There goes my dogs again, just barking at everything. I think if you go past 12 gigs, you go past 12 gigs, and then they start, they slow you down, or you have to start paying again for high-speed data. So it's just like, let's go with Simply Unlimited. So if like if you're a single user, then, you know, being on Google Fi probably isn't the best. Probably not the best idea at all whatsoever. But if you got 4 lines of service, or if you need 4 lines of service, then yeah, I mean, this is where it's at. If I was to go on Unlimited Plus, it'd be $160. That's $160 for 4 lines, $40 each line. Yes, you get all these perks right here, like the YouTube Premium and such. But remember, Google Fi charges taxes. And I'm not talking about like small taxes like Helium. Like Helium Mobile, my taxes with them is like 26 cents. With Google Fi, my taxes are like, where I live at, in the city I live in, is like $9. So just for the plan alone, with taxes and fees, I'm going to be paying about $109 to $110 for 4 lines. So, but that's for 4 lines. That's still less than paying $160, and everybody has unlimited talk and text, and everybody has access to data, so they'll be fine. Plus, two, putting my daughter's back on the family link with Google, which comes. I mean, you can do that yourself. You don't have to be on Google Fi to have the family link thing, but it is kind of bonded with Google Fi, so it's easy accessible within the app. So I can, see where my kids are and make sure that everything's fine with them. That's the other thing too. So I think Firsty is like Google. Do they switch towers? I'm not entirely sure. I still have to do more research on Firsty, but I just know that what they're using here, um, it's only picking up edge, and so it's like it's a little spotty. Um, on top of that, I went through the troubleshooting myself and found like two different APNs and manually inputted those APNs, and it still didn't help. So it's just like it's a good idea if it maintained a constant connection and if you were able to pause, right? Like I think that's one thing that first you should do is if you're gonna watch ads to build up time, what they should do is if you're like going into work, you have to turn your phone off. You should be able to open the Firsty app and like pause the time, which disconnects your data. Turn your phone off, and then that time built up, you have that time to use. Because while she's in school and she has like 9 hours built up, her school's like almost 8 hours or about 8 hours. By the time she was done with school, she barely had any time left. And then, of course, it's edge service, so she can't really stream video, so she can't watch ads. And that means she can't build up any more time. So, yeah, it's hit or miss. But it's okay, though. It is a good idea. And it is a good idea, especially when you're traveling around. Because, again, this is a global service out of UK. So Firsty's out of the UK. And so I'm pretty sure that, it works good globally. Enough to where, you can order an Uber and maybe send some emails and some quick chat messages on Facebook Messenger through it. And be able to let people know that you landed in a certain country and you're fine. So it's good for that. But it just wasn't really helping out with my daughter at this time. And maybe when I get it configured after I mess around with it some more, I'll come back and let people know if like Firsty's like a good, kind of just sneak option. But like for right now, we're all gonna be on Google Fi. Except for my youngest son, he doesn't need to be on his phone so much. So his plan, my wife is upgrading his plan, so he's actually staying with Helium, but he's switching from the free plan to the Air plan. So he's going with this. So $15 a month, and he gets 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. So he has to manage that, but he still gets his unlimited talk and text. I'm gonna test this out too because, if he burns 10 gigabytes of data and the unlimited talk and text stops, like the service shuts off, then I'm just gonna completely take him off of this. I still have his physical SIM card from Mobile X, which also is on the 10 gigabyte plan, but it's on a pause. I haven't paid the bill on that. So if this shuts down afterwards, and my son he's not able to call or send any text messages because the data is gone, then completely take the SIM out of his phone and just, I'll just pay the Mobile X line. Because I know with that one, if you use all the data, your calls and texts should still work. And it'll just be on Mobile X. But he'll be on a much lower plan. I just don't want him being on his phone so much. That's really the thing with my kids. I really don't want them to be on their phone so much. This plan used to be really good when it used to be $80 for 4 lines. I mean, 2 lines is $80, 3 lines used to be $80, and 4 lines used to be $80, but now it's at $100. Google Fi is really at the mercy of T-Mobile, and really, I don't know if they're negotiating or if they're aggressively negotiating. Like, to me, that's one thing I think that Google Fi really should start to look at their competition. You got so much competition, like you got. Boost Mobile doing a $25 plan. You got Metro by T-Mobile that has a promotional $25 plan for loyalty. You got Mobile X at $25. You got US Mobile's $25 starter plan. There are so many plans that are very similar to Simply Unlimited that cost half the price for one line, right? Simply Unlimited is $50, and really what you're getting is unlimited talk and text. You're getting 35 gigabytes of priority high-speed data before you're throttled, and 5 gigabytes of hotspot tethering, right? And then data included in Canada and Mexico, and that's pretty much it. um, the best plans is going to be obviously the Unlimited Plus. That's 50 gigs of high-speed priority data, international usage, and 200 plus destinations. So you get a little bit more with the Unlimited Plus, but I think for them to be very competitive, they need to get a little bit more. Like so here's what I would do, and I've always said this in live streams when it comes to Google Fi, but if they kept the price at $65, first of all, let's do taxes and fees included, because everybody loves that. I can argue the point of taxes and fees and just it not being that big of a deal, but everybody will still get angry and rage about it. So let's just do it. Let's just make it 65 flat even, or drop it to $60, right? Make it compete against Boost Mobile's Unlimited Plus and the Metro Flex Plus plan, or whatever their highest tier plan is, right? So $60, the unlimited hotspot tethering, because it uses it against your actual data. So if they gave like 100 gigabytes of data on the Unlimited Plus at $60 a month, data in 200 international destinations, calls to the from the U.S. to 50 plus destinations. You got 6 months of YouTube Premium, 100 gigabytes of storage with Google One. If they did that for $60, that would be comparable to like Metro by T-Mobile, Boost Mobile, all these other ones out there, right? Total by Verizon. It'll just be against it'll be a good one, a good comparison. And then with the Simply Unlimited, raise the data allowance. That one should be 50 gigabytes of high-speed data before throttled at $50. Taxes and fees included, flat rate $50. And then of course the flexible plan, $20 for a line. Fine, if you're gonna do that, $20 for a line, then make it $2 per gigabyte of data that you use. You know what I mean? If Mobile X can charge $2.10 for 1 gigabyte of data, well, then Google Fi should be able to. I mean, one of the big reasons why myself, and there are other people who feel the same way, why Google can make these cuts is because, first of all, Google's main bread and butter is search. It's not Google Fi phone service. It's not Pixels. It's not Pixel books. It's not, Pixel tablet. It's not Nest, smart home gadgets. It's search. That's where they make their money. So asking them to go to the table and speak with T-Mobile and renegotiate their deal with them, allowing their MVNO deal to raise the amount of data that Fi customers use. Because we don't have access to all the free Wi-Fi's like we used to. See, yes, there's free Wi-Fi's like at Albertsons, at Safeway, at Target. They have Wi-Fi for customers. And the way that Fi used to work back in the days, it literally used to be where you would just walk in and your Fi app would know the configurations for Target's free Wi-Fi. And so you would just automatically connect to the free Wi-Fi. You didn't have to do anything. Now you do. Fi has really kind of stripped itself down from what it was when it was Project Fi to what it is now. They don't have US cellular connection anymore, obviously. So they're not piggybacking off of that as one of their connections. They used to have a multi-network connection. And, Boost Mobile and other companies are really trying to achieve that style. It is funny because the only one that actually truly did a smart switch was Project Fi. When it was T-Mobile and Sprint, it would switch. I mean, you could manually switch it with dialer code, or there was a third-party app called Fi Switcher, which allowed you to do it manually, but your phone would just do it anyways. They went from that to procuring a third network connection, which was US Cellular. So now they had the power of three. They had, T-Mobile, they had Sprint, they had US Cellular. And then, Sprint got absorbed by T-Mobile, so then they had T-Mobile and US Cellular. Now US Cellular is down to Fritz. If you guys didn't check out Rando Geek's video where he talks about so many US Cellular employees getting canned, man, that totally sucks. But I mean, that is what it is. So There are some negative points to Fi. My all time biggest beef with them was that they had very bad customer service. Their customer service was, in my opinion, just garbage. I'm still upset with them because they set my Pixel my Pixel 6. They set it as a stolen device, and they can't, like, losing my voice. Hold on. They set my Pixel 6 to a stolen device. So that's its status. It's IMEI's blacklisted. And they can't ever activate it again on Fi. I've had a hard time trying to get that Pixel 6 activated with anything that used the T-Mobile network. And yeah. So the only service providers I can use my Pixel 6 on, which my daughter's using it, but is Verizon and AT&T. They're the only two that I can just put it on there. With Google Fi, it's blacklisted on the T-Mobile system, so T-Mobile has it marked as a stolen device, and they have no way or know-how to take it off that list. So it will never activate again. Sucks. I agree. Any phone plan that limits your ability to call and text is dumpster fire trash. Yeah, they shouldn't be taking that away. I could understand it not making a phone call if you have VoLTE, because obviously you're using data to make that phone call. If you disable that, you should be able to make a regular cellular call. I don't know. Yes, First he does switch towers. They have agreements with different providers across the world, so they're able to access their network. So, but man, it's a little weird just because, like, in my earlier days on YouTube, I was like so gun ho about Google Fi. It was like the best service plan I ever had, and it's just hard to find another company that can replicate what I was getting with Google Fi 7 years ago. It's really hard, or 7, 8, 9 years ago. It's really hard to replicate that, because that was one of the things that I really enjoyed, was just always being connected and always having a connection. I mean, back then I was on their flexible plan because that's all they had. And my bill monthly was like 40, 45, $50 a month. But back then, like, apps weren't very data intensive. See, that's something that Fi needs to catch up with, is like Facebook or Meta, any app from Meta. All these apps that we use, like TikTok and stuff, they're very data intensive now. So the amount of data we were using 8 years ago is not the same as it is today. So the limitations, to a degree, won't be for everybody. Like I said, I can make this manage. I know how to manage this where it's not going to bother me. But I know, some of you guys, even if you have home Wi-Fi, you just want truly, truly unlimited data. You just want to be able to use it for as long as you want with no worries at all whatsoever. And I totally get that. I get it. I understand. I'm not going to convince people like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You'll be okay. Like, no. If you want truly unlimited, then you want truly unlimited. That's just the way of it. But this will work for me. So, family and I is going to be on Fi. 4 lines, $100 before tax. And then some of my credit will go, because I didn't even know this, but like the time that I had my Fi account paused, I had shared my Google Fi code, which, if anybody wants to try Google Fi, go ahead and use my code and you'll get a $60 credit. You'll get the credit. I will no longer get the credit because I've maxed out on referral credits. So I have a little north of $700 in credit with Google Fi, which goes towards my phone bill. But they don't comp my entire phone bill with my credit. They only allow a percentage of your earned credit to apply towards your bill, so you still have to pay something. So maybe my bill might be $80, maybe it might be 75 and some change. I don't know, but I do have enough. I do have some credit that I need to burn. And that's pretty much it. I've earned $600 in credit plus an additional for um, for 10 people using the referral code. So yeah, the referral code's still good, and the referral code still gives you $60 credit. So when you sign up and you use my referral code, then after your first 30 days, when you pay your first bill, that $60 credit applies. So you'll have a cheaper bill for your first month. So if you want to use it, it's in the description. You guys can use the promo code. Or if you guys want to try out US Mobile, use my referral link, and that way it lets US Mobile know that I sent you guys. If you guys ever try to use US Mobile, do me that solid. Use the referral link. You always find it in the description of my videos, for sure. But yeah, I should have this on Monday. The Pixel 9a will be here according to the shipment. It's already been shipped. FedEx has it. So I'm tracking it, and it says it'll be here Monday between 9:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. So the unboxing video, first impressions, will come that night. Obviously, I need to have time with the phone, so I'll have that video up. And mine is the iris color, so I have this purplish shade of Pixel 9a coming, and then my wife's Pixel 9a, hers is peony. That one is coming later this coming week. So maybe Thursday is what it said it should come by. So like between the 16th and 17th, they said. Hopefully sooner than that. But this will be hers. And I don't know, if my daughter plays her cards right, maybe I'll get her this. Maybe the Galaxy Z Flip. Because like right now, when I did go to get my wife's promo, you had to go through the financing option to get that promo, where it's basically, free over 24 months credit. And yeah, with Fi, they approved me for $1,600 in credit, so I actually could grab a device for my daughter, but probably won't. At least not one of these. Maybe the Moto G Stylus 5G 2024. I know she likes big phones and she likes styluses. What up, Jade? Welcome in, man. So maybe I will hook her up with that phone for her birthday or something. We'll see. They got pretty decent phones. Where is it? It's actually pretty decent. Moto Razr 2024. I know my wife was like, she was staring at this phone too, and I showed her. I was like, hey, they got the Moto Razr, save $250 off, right? So it would only be $349. And she just kind of looked at it because she really wanted this phone. She really wanted this phone, but she is a Pixel fangirl, and so she also wanted the Peony. The Peony Pixel 9. Why do people call it Peony? I call it Peony. I don't know. Is it Peony or Peony? Someone tell me. Correct me. But yeah, she wanted a Razr, the Razr Flip. And I was like, and I was telling her too, like, I don't know, I think, doesn't Mr. Mobile have a clicks case for the Moto Razr 2024? I think he does. And I told her, like, she could have got the clicks case. It would have had a full, physical QWERTY keyboard. And the case to me looks cool because when the phone is closed shut and you have that extended part with the QWERTY keyboard. But then, of course, when you flip the phone open, it's going to make it like super long. But nonetheless, she could have got that. She chose a Pixel 9a. I think she wanted a Pixel 9a because she wanted why not the 9? Because the 9a gets an additional year of support. You remember the Pixel 9 came out in 2024. So its support is 7 years of software support. But it's 1 year shorter than the 9A. Because there's not really a difference. Okay, so here's the thing. The Pixel 9, glass body and all that other stuff, my wife doesn't care for that. She's not looking for the most premium phone. The fact that the Pixel 9A has a polycarbonate, well, not polycarbonate, it's a plastic back that's, frosted, and then you got the aluminum side railing. The fact that she doesn't have to worry about the back of the phone spider cracking is one of the big things for her. The fact that the phone size is the exact same size as the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro, right? 6.3-inch display. So no reason to go for the 9 because it's not giving her a bigger screen. So it's about the same size. And it's got the larger battery, so the battery life on the Pixel 9a will surpass what the Pixel 9 will have. Even though they are going to start throttling Pixel phones the way that iPhone's batteries get throttled, still has a longer battery life than the Pixel 9. And it's really just not really missing anything that, you know, the Pixel 9 would have. So in her logic, why pay $200 more? Right? And the $200 or $300 more? Because I know $300 more because the Pixel 9 goes for $799. And the Pixel 9a that she wants, because she doesn't use a lot of storage, so she went with the 128. That one's $499. So, yeah, $299 if you're a current customer. That's the deal that I got. I got it for $299. So, like in my promo tracking on Google Fi, it shows me once I get the Pixel 9a here, then as soon as I activate it, then that $200 off is locked in. Because if I get the phone and I don't activate it on Fi ever, and I put it on something else after 30 days, I think it's 30 days for me. It's 50 days for her. It's 30 days for me. But then they'll charge me. they'll charge me the remainder of the phone minus the trade-in I did. You know, shout out to the homie who basically allowed me to trade in a Galaxy, I think it's the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition. That's what I traded in. A little bug got in the house. If you guys start hearing some power tools going off, I apologize. There are workers outside. They're doing some work on the roof of this tripleplex that I live in, so... Which plan am I on? So currently right now, I am on the Unlimited Plus. I've had that since last year. But as my wife's phone comes at the end of the month on the 26th, I'll be switching over to the Simply Unlimited. Because I'm adding my daughters back onto it. Because Helium Zero is not working out for them. So we have 4 people plan, $100 before taxes. I'm not worried about the taxes and fees. And so yeah, we'll be Google Fi customers. I love my Moto G 5G 2024. Which carrier do you have it with, Jessica? Yeah, it is. And, you know, I don't got to worry about my kids being on their phones 24/7 because they only have 35 gigs. I mean, when they're at home, they're on Wi-Fi. They're on the Wi-Fi at home. They're good. They're golden. And, you know, my wife's all like, she doesn't want to mess with my credit or mess up the account. So she's going to stay with Google Fi for 2 years. Once the promo is done, she's gotten the final credit for the Pixel 9a. If she wants to stay with Google Fi, she will, which she is. My wife is the type of person that doesn't like to jump carriers. Like, she's already melted my head off with her laser beam eyes. Because when I made the proposition to her, she was just like, yeah, you know, that's a good idea. We should just all be on one carrier together as a family. I'm like, cool. But she's looking at me because she's like, she knows what the next thing is, which is I'm going to have to port your number from US Mobile to Google Fi so you keep your same phone number. Because she uses it for work, right? And that's how the other department managers can reach out to her and let her know how her department's doing when it's her day off, because she is a manager. So she has to keep that same number. And yeah, so she's already dreading it because she's always afraid that something might happen. It's happened to her only one time when she's ported a number and it got lost in limbo. And it wasn't even a port, it was a migration because it was coming from Visible to Verizon, and she lost the number that she had 6 years before that. So yeah, she doesn't trust number porting, and I totally get why she doesn't. So she's dreading it. But it has to be done so she can keep her numbers. I told her, She can keep her phone number with US Mobile and drop it down to the $25 plan. But then she's looking at me like that's unnecessary spending. That's wasting. Like, am I stupid? Is the way that she looked at me. So I'm like, I get it. You know, you got yours with Cricket. Cricket's pretty solid. My brother, and shout out to him. He had a birthday yesterday. My brother turned 44 years old. So I'm only a year younger than him. Um, so he turned 44. He has Cricket. He's had them. Wow, he's had them for 11 years. 11 years he's been with Cricket. Like when from he moved here from Hawaii. So yeah, because he went back to Hawaii. He was living there, and then he went homeless. Like everything in Hawaii is expensive, so he lost his place to live. He was living out on the streets. He flew from Hawaii to here, and he signed up with Metro by T-Mobile, and he didn't like the services, so he ported his number from Metro by T-Mobile to Cricket. And then since then, he's been on Cricket for so many years. He's content. So Cricket would probably view my brother's account as a loyal customer. Over 10 years he's been with them. I wish I could be that type of person, but I'm not. I'm always bouncing around, but maybe this will tie me down, you know. Because my daughters, like, they don't give their friends their phone numbers, not because they don't want them being bothered, because they're like, and it's funny because my daughter had told one of her friends, she's like, you know, you can message me on Instagram or Discord. She's like, giving you my phone number is not worth it because my dad has me jump around a lot and I'm just going to end up with a new number. I was like, damn. But at the same time, too, it's cool, though, because if she ever gave her number to a creep, that creep can't call her because she probably doesn't have that number anymore. Mola's daughter has went through 5 different phone numbers since her time of actually having a cell phone. My youngest daughter has gone through 3 numbers since she's been old enough to have a cell phone. My youngest son, he doesn't really, he's never really had a phone number per se. He's always used his phone like a tablet. He's got the Moto G Stylus 2022. And he's just really used it like a little mini touchscreen gaming handheld thing. That's really all that he uses it for. So now that he actually has the phone line on it, because sometimes I'll share a story with you guys of my son. He's so awesome. So my sister-in-law, she sometimes picks up my son from the bus stop. Lately, I've been doing it a lot because of this event that happened earlier this year. So she was, because her son takes the same bus as my son, right? So my nephew, my son's cousin, they ride the bus together. They get off at the same place together. One day, my sister-in-law lost track of time, so I don't know what was what. I'm not gonna make any assumptions. All I know is that she wasn't there when their bus pulled up and dropped them off. And so both my nephew and my son was waiting outside, and all the other kids and their parents had left. So my nephew, he started crying. My nephew was like 8 years old. My son is 9. And then so my son starts going through his phone contacts. First time, he really kind of like sent a text message. So he texts my wife, asking where she was. She's like, I'm at work. And then so he's like, he calls her. She answers her phone, and like my wife starts freaking out because she can hear my nephew like bawling, crying in the background. And my son's like, should I try to make my way to the house? Because we only live down the road away from his bus stop. My wife messages me. She's like, hey, something's wrong. Go get my son. My wife is panicking because she thought it was my son that was crying and like talking while crying, but it was just a blended voice of my nephew and my son. So I like ran out the house because I was like, holy crap, what's going on? So I jump in my car and I just fly it to the bus stop. It's like maybe 3 minutes away. I get there and I see my nephew and my son. They're standing underneath a tree. But what my son did was he didn't want to wait where the bus stop is at because there's not a lot of traffic there. So he told his cousin to follow him. My son wanted to go to this big tree in this, like, it's not an open field because there's an apartment nearby it. It's like an apartment complex where their bus stop is at. But they went to this big grassed area with a big tree for shade that's close to a very busy road. So I live off of a very busy road. There's always traffic. And the reason why my son took my nephew there with him is because if anybody tried to talk to them, grab them, they would be in view of a lot of people driving around. So that's why my son did that. And when I got there, he's like, he's like, hey, we kind of got scared, we got nervous, his tia didn't show up. And I'm like, it's okay, like hop in. And I told my nephew, get in, like, come over to my house, you can wait over there. So when I was driving back, my sister-in-law messaged me on Facebook Messenger apologizing. She lost track of time. She was on her way. I was like, oh, you can grab your son from my house. He's going to be in my house with me. I picked him up too. Not going to leave him there. But when my son was like, yeah, we went to the busy road so people can see us in case someone tried to, kidnap us. People would see us and maybe they'll call the police or come help us. And I'm like, hey, man, good thinking, right? I don't know. I'm a stickler for my kids. I love my kids very much. I was so proud that my son thought of that. I was like, yes, like, you go, son. Like, you make this dad proud, so. Yeah. I love my son very much, but that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So that's the reason why he has a mobile phone line is he knows what to do. He knows that he even knows that I didn't tell him about it because I guess it just it blew, like, it just went over my head. I always tell him, like, if someone is like looks weird, creepy, or is coming near you, just grab your phone, dial 911. My son's like, I can just press 9 and hit call, and it auto dials 911. I'm like, yeah, you're right, it does that. So my son has picked up on a lot of cool things, and I'm just proud that he knows what to do. He's got some good thinking. He's quick to think on the fly. So my son's very inquisitive. He's always questioning. So if he's always questioning things, I know he's always thinking of things. When he finished third grade, he got an award from his teacher as most inquisitive student. Like, she gives out all these little awards to her class as they're promoting to the next grade, and she always thinks of like one thing about them that will remind her of them. And my son got most inquisitive, and she was just like, he always has a question, and he always wants to know why things work this way. Why does it move that way? How come it's this color? Like, so when she told me that, I'm like, okay, he was a lot like me when I was his age, and I was like, so he, obviously he's thinking a lot. Plus, too, my son is a dreamer. I know when he plays with his toys, I know he's a dreamer. I was that way when I was young. I could always just go off into another world in my mind and pretend that, I was Superman, or I was Batman, or, I was the Ultimate Warrior from WWF back in the day. Like, I could really get into playtime when I was his age as a kid. Just, my imagination ran wild. Sometimes I even daydream. Kind of like that kid Barry from Sidekicks. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie with Chuck Norris and that one kid who, like, fantasizes about fighting side by side with Chuck Norris until he enters the karate championship. Yeah, kind of like that, just daydreaming. So I know my son has an imagination like that. He can write some stories. They had some testing done this week, and like end of year school testing, and he had to write a story, and he came up with a pretty badass story for a kid. I was just like, wow. If you keep that root idea, like write it down and never lose it, you probably, as you get older, could build off of it. Maybe even write it into like one of those manga stories and have different volumes, or hell, you could even write a novel. Consumer Cellular works great for you. Nice. That's awesome. I think they just opened, well, not open, it's been open for a while, but they're hiring for a lot more people to work at the Consumer Cellular physical store here in Tempe, Arizona. I know they had a physical store in Florida. That was one of their first actual physical stores they opened, and they're opening more. Consumer Cellular is opening more physical stores, so they opened one in Tempe, Arizona, and they need more associates to work there, so I was like, no, I don't think I want to work for a phone company anymore. I honestly don't. I don't want to work for a phone company anymore just because it's just weird. The last, not Mobile X, but the jobs before that. So Consumer Cellular is one of them. Boost Mobile is another one. So the last two um, phone service providers that I worked for had not only found my YouTube channel, but made a big deal about it. Right? I told you guys what Boost Mobile did to me, and they were like, take down all your Boost Mobile videos, and you know, we're gonna reach out to this person that reached out to you to have you review the Solero, and you're gonna be kicked out of that program because you're employed by us. I'm like, okay, I get it. Consumer Cellular, they were like, you can't wear your lanyard in your video. Like, oh, come on, man. Like, I even told them too. Like, I would put in the description a little clause that says that I'm not a representative. I don't represent Consumer Cellular on YouTube. So they were just, I don't know. They're very mean about it. Like, I'm easy to work with. If you talk to me as a person and you talk to me on a level of respect, you'll get the same respect back. But if you come at me and talk to me like I committed a crime, like I just look at you like you're ridiculous, You're ridiculous. Like why? Like why? I don't know. I find that strange. I find that really strange. Um, so I really don't want to. Like when I worked with Mobile X, they didn't treat me that way. Peter Arrington was pretty solid about it, but they did make it clear though. Like anything, any news, anything they were doing, like I could not talk about it on social media or YouTube, or I would get fired. And I kept my word. Like I would not leak any info about Mobile X at all, and kept my word about that. And you know. So other than that, other than the whole Google Fi thing, what is up with all of you guys? Can I turn the lights on you? Can I give you guys the floor? Anybody want to post something in the chat that was interesting for them? It could be whatever. Doesn't have to be tech. You could have like tasted the greatest burger you've ever tasted from a restaurant you've never eaten at before. Please post it in the chat. I want to know what's up with all of you guys and how you guys are doing. I want to know if you guys are doing okay. How's life treating you? All those things I want to know. I'm actually going to scoot my chair instead of turning the microphone. We should start an MVNO. If I had the money, I would. I would have to raise some sort of some capital to start trying to do that. I feel like T-Mobile has a lot of MVNOs on their network. So if I was to start an MVNO, I would first start off with Verizon. I know Verizon's pretty expensive, pretty pricey for what they would charge, for our access to their network. I don't know. What I do know is on the IRL channel, right? Aloha Android in real life. That's like my throwaway for any type of thing, video gaming, blogging, whatever I feel like doing. I will be live reacting to WrestleMania 41 a week from today, right? In 7 days is WrestleMania 41. I'm excited for it. Me and B-Tech got to do another episode on the Deathlock podcast. Hopefully he's planning to do one this week. We need to do one because WrestleMania 41 is going to be huge, and yeah. I would like to come out west to eat at the Black Bear Diner. I get emails from them all the time. Really? Oh my God, man. Their food is... So my wife and I make it apparent to go to Black Bear Diner. I don't know. I'll share this with you guys. My favorite thing to get from them is the 2-egg combo. So I go with a 2-egg combo, sunny side, either sunny side up or over easy, depending how I feel on that day. With my options being the spicy Italian patty, which is it's made from scratch, so it's not like frozen circular. It's like an odd shaped color because literally it's the ground pork with the Italian spices and everything. They make it from scratch. Everything at Black Bear Diner is made from scratch. I promise you. So I get that right. Over easy eggs, homemade Italian patty sausage, 2 bacons. I add on 2 bacons to that, and then I get homemade biscuits and a bowl of grits. I normally don't like grits, but I like the grits from them, and they always keep an ample supply. So you can always mess around. You can put hot sauce if you want yours to be a little bit more spicy. They got other toppings that you can do to make it a little more robust and rustic. But if you want sweet, they got like different types of jams that you can use to sweeten the grits. It is so good. But my wife doesn't like when we go there because she's like, to her, she gets freaked out with the grits. I'm like, I think of it like it's oatmeal or cream of wheat type of thing. I will be. They follow me on X. Oh, nice, nice. That's nice, man. Yeah. Man, you should pitch to them that they should open a Blackbeard diner in your city. You get enough people to do it. Their food is excellent. I think the most expensive thing I ate. I always go there for breakfast. They have a lunch menu and a dinner menu, but I like to go there for breakfast. And like the best breakfast I have is pretty. So I don't want to say it's expensive, but it kind of is, depending on what your budget is. But a T-bone steak and eggs. Holy crap! I'm talking about damn near like almost like a 4-inch thick cut T-bone. Like that steak is just immaculate. And like the way that I like my steaks, mid rare, right? So, a little like a little ruby in the very center, a little pink around that, juicy. So that, and then two over easy eggs. Man, oh man, I'm getting hungry right now thinking about it. I'll talk to my wife. We're supposed to this coming Friday. We're supposed to go because it's her day off. We're gonna go on a date when the kids are in school and go have breakfast. I'm gonna be like, let's go to Black Bear. Never doubt, never feel like things are impossible, man. Things are possible. There's always a way. Oh man. Other than that, so I'm getting ready for WrestleMania 41 next weekend. I'll be watching it on Peacock. The Hall of Fame ceremony on Friday night. Yeah, I'm watching the Hall of Fame on Friday night. WrestleMania 41 on Saturday. Main event will be CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth. Tell me, Gene, do you think that Paul Heyman's going to screw both Punk and Reigns and align with Seth Rollins? Let me know. Actually, Gene, you should come on the podcast with me and B-Tech when we go on the Deathlock podcast. The Denver Omelet is my favorite. Oh, yeah. Denver Omelet, man. That's pretty good. I've seen the ingredients. I've sampled quite a bit of stuff from Black Bear Diner. It's really good. I wish it would be nationwide, like have like 2 or 3 in every major city in every state. They need to open a Black Bear Diner in Hawaii. But, if they did, I wouldn't want them to add so much of like the Hawaiian influence or what the locals there eat, like, because there's all kinds of places in Hawaii that are similar to Black Bear Diner that's locally inspired. Like there's a place called Koa Pancake House. If you ever vacation to Hawaii, go to Koa Pancake House. It is delicious to die for. Mac 24/7 is another one. They got a very giant pancake. I think they had that pancake challenge on Man vs. Food. So if you want to see what that pancake looks like, type in Man vs. Food Honolulu and you'll see what the challenge was that Yeti. But that place has really good breakfast food. Seth is your favorite. You're going for Seth. I think Roman wins. I honestly feel like Roman wins. I feel if Seth wins, it's because Seth is turning to a heel. He's going to flip back to being a heel again with Paul Heyman. It will cost too much to put Black Bear Diner nationwide? I don't know. I mean, Denny's is nationwide. To me, Black Bear is not like a poor man's Denny's. To me, I think Black Bear has better quality, food, and a better quality built atmosphere. Like every time that I check out, it's like staring me in the face. So it always like it's like they're teasing me, because the front display case where you pay your bill after you've eaten, they got a display casing that has fresh, like made from scratch pies. I'm talking fresh blueberry pies, strawberry, rhubarb, apple, not just regular apple, Dutch apple as well. They got cobblers, okay? Peach cobbler. Oh my Jesus. It is good. Man, Gene, just get a ticket and just use the excuse. Take a vacation and be like, I'm going to go visit and hang out with for a week with Tito, and we'll go to Black Bear Diner. I had one person come visit me that watched me on YouTube. Ricky Sachs came all the way out here from Vegas, and we went and had breakfast. Pretty cool guy. I hung out with him for a little bit. So, yeah, Gene, get a ticket out to Phoenix. Come out here. We'll go to breakfast. As a matter of fact, save up some money and come out here when it's fall, winter. We really don't have a fall, but I'd say like a week before winter. So like in December, come out here before for a little bit. You'll make it back home for Christmas. We just come out here in the beginning of December when it's cold, because it is, the atmosphere is just amazing. The food's amazing. The coffee is immaculate. It is delicious. Black Bear Diner is, I can't say it on YouTube. It is awesome. Did you watch SmackDown last night? Yeah, I saw it. I saw like, well, they had most of the belts. They didn't have every belt. There were still a few titles that was missing on there, but he had belts that connected with a specific wrestler, right? Like I believe he had a title that was held by Bruno Sammartino, right? He had that belt out there. He had my favorite belt, the Winged Eagle title from the early '90s, which was held by guys like Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, which he did reference Undertaker. He did say, the Phenom. And then, he kind of skipped over the title that Austin started to carry after he won the belt from Shawn Michaels, which was the bigger Eagle belt. He went to the undisputed WWF Championship, which was held by Eddie Guerrero, and he made mention of Eddie Guerrero. So he had titles out there that were synonymous with certain wrestlers, and even the spinner belt that was out there, which freaking thing is ugly as hell. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was good. It was good for the most part. SmackDown's, it's brewing up. We'll see how it goes. I drove through Phoenix when I moved back home to New England. I lived in SoCal for 5 years. Should have stopped for breakfast there. And man, if you ever come back out this way, man, stop for breakfast over here. There's another place too. Like if you like breakfast burritos, okay, it's a little unorthodox, but man, big shout out to them. So there's this spot. It's right outside the Native American Hospital. So they have one over here in off 16th Street in Phoenix. There's a side road between the hospital and this big giant soccer field. A lot of people line up there in the mornings. They have like all these different types of breakfast burritos that you could, just drive through, stop, buy it from them. Like my favorite I get is the spam and potato burrito. Some of you guys may hate spam, but man, don't knock this until you try it. It is friggin' bomb. So when you have that, and then they give you the, you can either choose habanero, serrano, or jalapeno, whichever your heat preference is. But it's like diced up, and they put it in a little Ziploc bag. You can add that into your burrito. It is delicious. They do spam potato burritos, spam egg and potato burritos. You got ground beef and eggs. They have tamales. They have a taco bowl, like a breakfast taco bowl. And yeah, it's fairly good price. Like the burritos are anywhere between $5 to $8, depending. And they're not small. They're freaking massive. They're like the size of a football. Man, it's good. He praised all the shows, Raw, NXT. Yeah, I mean, Cody is the face of the company right now with WWE. But while he did give a shout to NXT talent, to Raw talent, to SmackDown talent, the biggest thing is that he gave the biggest shout out to the future, the future wrestlers, right? The kids that are in the stands watching, that have a dream of becoming a pro wrestler. He gave them the biggest shout out, inspired them to literally like don't just dream about being a pro wrestler, but when you get older, train and go for it and push hard for it. Oh, spam! My whole family thinks I'm nasty. See, for me, I grew up on spam. Right in Hawaii, there's like well over 100 dishes you can use spam in as an ingredient. So there's like so many ways that we eat spam in Hawaii that to a lot of people that's like I don't like it because it's too salty. Man, eat a teriyaki fried spam. That ain't salty. It ain't overly sweet. The saltiness of the spam balances with the teriyaki sauce sweetness. I'm just saying. Oh, let me tell my kiddos. Oh wow, yeah. It is time for me to hop off, everybody. So yeah, I appreciate everyone coming in and hanging out with me. This is awesome. Do subscribe to the Deathlock podcast. We should be going live sometime this week to WrestleMania 41 predictions, and I'll be back at a different time with more videos Monday. Hopefully, if everything goes right, Monday will be the Pixel 9a unboxing for me to share my first impressions and thoughts of the phone with you guys. And of course, there'll be some Pixel 9a video updates comparing it to the Pixel 8a, the Nothing Phone 1, the Moto G Stylus 2024, iPhone 12, iPhone 11 Pro Max, like all the phones I have. I'm going to be comparing them to it to kind of not to say which is better, but to kind of show the advancements from what we had several years back to what we have now. So you'll be seeing that. Of course, I'll be dropping some shorts. And on the photography channel, I will be doing a camera, like a camera test for the Pixel 9a. So if you're not subscribed to the photography channel, please do. But yeah, you guys take it easy. I really appreciate you guys for coming out. I love you guys very much. Stay cool, stay blessed. Again, hit that like button. Help the channel out. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you on the next one.